everyone. Welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have someone really special. Today we have Alessandro Bacci with us. And Alessandro is a Senior Legal Research Analyst with S&P Global Commodity Insights. And based in London, UK, he monitors legal and regulatory and fiscal developments relevant to the upstream industry in the Middle East and North Africa. And he also participates in consulting projects requiring upstream legal and regulatory and fiscal expertise. So now, without further ado, let's dive into more about him. So hi, Alessandro. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Pleasure is all ours. And now, moving forward, I would like to know about a complex legal issue that you worked on and also describe the complexity and tell us how you approached it.
Okay, first of all, I would like to tell you that my work in a certain way is complex because I monitor legal, regulatory, and fiscal changes in relation to a portfolio of countries, in specific North African and Middle Eastern countries. So as you may imagine, they have different legal frameworks, different petroleum frameworks. And because actually we have to help our clients to understand exactly where to invest, and we provide information through or bespoke activity or through a platform where they can do a lot of comparison between, for example, a petroleum legal framework of one country to another. We need to be very good at analyzing the different complexities, and we have to switch from one legal framework to another, sometimes just during the same day, because we have maybe two projects, and they're not exactly very simple, because literally you have a different level of developments also in these countries. So this is, in general, there is a lot of complexity in doing this. On top of that, I would like to say that because we are actually advising on legal terms, sometimes we want to be clear to our clients when, for example, there are some doubts, when something it is not so clear. Because, for example, within petroleum contracts, it is very important to help clients in relation to investment protections. So that, for example, if there are some changes in the let's say in the conditions, there are, for example, sometimes stabilization clauses or dispute resolution mechanisms. And we want to be able to say to our clients that, okay, this is what is written on paper. Is it reliable? Is it, if there is something that goes wrong, is it something that you can really rely on that? So this is another, just the difficulties, because when you have to move from one country to another, you have also to understand the reliability of the petroleum framework that you're dealing with. And on top of that, I try to be very, very, very honest with my clients, telling them exactly what my assumptions are, what my, let's say, ideas are, without just overstretching. Because if something it is not, let's say, clear, because, for example, we don't have information. It's, for example, a stabilization clause. It's not exactly the way it should be. I'm telling them to my clients without just forcing them in one specific direction. I'm more on the, let's say, to be on the safe side than on the risk side, as I would say. So this is, just to clarify in a certain way why sometimes, just legal issues are complex for the people like me working in the energy sector.
Absolutely, that was, explained really nicely, and thank you for that. So now moving forward, I'd like to know, like, how has the pandemic changed the way you work in dealing with your clients?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that the pandemic has for sure modified our lives everywhere in all the aspects, and for sure also in I would say in dealing with the clients, because before we were less online, there were more in-person interactions, and especially for someone like me based in London, UK, most of the companies, they have an office here. So it was simple. If you wanted to have, let's say, if you wanted to speak with someone, you entered the subway and then you went to the office of this person or vice versa. And that was right now, no, it's we do much more online. And in a certain way, this is also great because we can better exchange documents. So we work together. Recently, I had a 2-hour conversation with people in Southeast Asia, and it was very smooth, very simple. Literally, we showed them a lot of documents. It was very well. I would say it went very well. So for sure, this is different. At the same time, I have also some academic interest. And for example, when I was talking to the people from the staff of the university, they told me, yes, before the pandemic, we were happy when we had 50 people in attending an event, a conference. Right now, just we have easily 250 people, 300 people, and we are so it is great actually. This. What can I say? Is it good? Is it bad? There is not a perfect answer. I would say that for sure we can speed up things working a lot online, saving time and probably also money. But at a certain point, I think, we miss probably some social interactions for better understanding our clients. So, I mean, as usual, there should be a mix. And right now, just we still have to understand exactly where we are heading into right now. So for sure, I would say probably more that, it was positive. It moved up actually ahead, probably by some years, because this was the place where we were going, but just it actually was something speeding up the process.
Thank you so much again for that, for the answer. And now I would like to talk about something related to technology. So in the era of legal technology, what are the most commonly used tools for you?
This is probably this is a just a tool. I would say because we use it on a daily basis with colleagues within the company S&P Global, and also with foreign clients, teams. Teams, the program for actually sort of like the one that we are using right now. It is great because for us it's literally important to show documents, to work on documents together. Because, for example, when we are presenting to clients, because there are, let's say, different activity that we provide to the clients. So, for example, some people I'm talking about the energy sector. Some people, for example, they provide information about political risk. Some other people, they provide information about fiscal modeling. Some other people about geology, and me, contractual terms and fiscal terms. So sometimes when we have presentation that we give to our clients, they want to have one person from every one of these let's say 4 pillars. So we prepare documents together. So we work also before the presentation on Teams, and then we present through Teams. This is something that has been great actually, because we continuously change our documents, or we refine them, so that in this way we can work all together. And also the clients are happy. So I know that probably this is a sort of branded tool, but I want to be very honest also. This is something that we use daily, more times on a daily basis.
Thank you again for that answer. And now I would like to ask you, how is the oil and gas legal regulatory environment changing because of climate change?
It is changing. This was our idea within the company. Also, some years ago, we had we knew that we were supposed to have some changes linked to climate change, so that also oil and gas had to be, let's say, less polluting, or just greener in a certain way. So, for example, we see that also within our normal working activity, we had to work much more on environmental legislation and regulations. So our reports were always, over the years, we have increased, the environmental component. And now that climate change is something that we want to tackle in a certain way globally, we are trying to of course, there will be probably more attention given to climate change issues. We honestly, we think that this will be, though it is probably urgent to contrast, climate change. We think that this will be a very gradual process. So it cannot be like a switch, so that from overnight we have on-off from fossil fuels to renewables. And I think just countries, they're implementing additional regulation, legislation. For example, last year we had a very interesting study that we conducted in all our geographic sections, geographic areas that we cover, about flaring and venting. Flaring and venting is concern just waste of natural gas of that could be or released into the atmosphere and or burn because you're not able to use it. And this is actually something that today is not really acceptable any longer. So that's another step. So we see a lot of activity in many countries where you produce more legal more laws or more regulations. And so this is a phenomenon that is ongoing, and I think it will increase in the coming years.
Thank you for that answer. That was so nicely explained. And now moving forward, as you work in relation to many different countries, each having its own oil and gas legal framework, do you see a lot of differences in the legal evolution and how they can accommodate new legislation tackling the removal or reduction of carbon emissions?
Yes, definitely. There is a huge difference according to the country that you are considering. And exactly when we are talking about the removal reduction of carbon emissions, right now, just the precursors, the forerunners are primarily countries like the United States, the European Union as a whole, Australia, because these areas, they have honestly a very well developed legal framework, so they can actually add more complexity. In relation to, for example, the countries that I cover in North Africa and the Middle East, there are huge differences in the way actually these countries could in a certain way work in relation to the removal reduction of carbon emissions. Probably there are some countries in the Gulf, like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, they can in a certain way move well ahead, but some other countries in North Africa or in the second layer of North African countries, they honestly, it's very difficult for them to move ahead. Also consider that when we are talking about the removal reduction of carbon emissions, there may be very different, well, not very different. I think there could be different strategies that countries can actually implement. For example, they can introduce tax incentives, tax subsidies, direct regulations, a carbon tax, or some carbon allowances. Personally, I think that there will be a convergence on the medium to long-term basis, so that more or less all the countries, especially if we want to actually work consistently with carbon emissions, they have to use more tools at the same time. But at the same time, as you understand, what I was mentioning, these are tools that are not something that all countries can implement if they don't have a very strong legal and fiscal environment. Again, to answer to your question, I try to, in a certain way, justify my answer, but the point is that, yes, there are very, very, very big differences between one country and another, especially in my area.
Now, I completely agree with you. So when we actually started this conversation, so you told this in the beginning that, the area of your work is kind of complex. So now, after having a good conversation with you, so I can, I truly, truly with you. There are a number of legal frameworks, and now that each country has its own. So yeah, definitely that's really a complex sector that you're actually working on. So thank you so much for sharing such great insights with us, and we look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international legal world. So for our viewers, if you like this chat with Alessandro Bacci, please like and share this video and also subscribe to Clickaway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do. And you have more coming from the legal space. So this is Nikhil for LexTalk World signing off.